I don't know if y'all heard all that noise, but I heard something. It didn't sound right. So I paused it because I didn't know if it sounded right. It was some more. I'm like, what the hell is that noise? What was that? Try it again. I hear it in my ear. So I don't know what it's doing. So we're going to have to let that go. Okay? So listen, honey, thank y'all for being up in here with us tonight, honey. With me tonight, honey. I got my friend Puppy Badass is up in here who's gonna be chatting it up with us tonight, darling. Yes, honey. What's up, Sly? Royalty forever. Blah blah. Why do I think I know blah blah? Blah 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 blah. Kimmy, honey, all of y'all, thank y'all so much for rolling through here tonight, honey. I'm going to bring my guest in. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Let me get it all up in here. Add you all up in here. What's up? I can't hear you. You on mute. Unmute yourself.
What's this damn thing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, well, I feel so privileged watching you
Why do
work.
you? Well, I feel so privileged to have company while I get this damn stairs together because tonight I'm gonna be painting the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But what you be doing? Everybody else said they didn't hear it, so
Where's
I don't
Matthew?
know what's going on. He downstairs.
Oh, he's not helping you with the stairs?
Do what?
Look, he wants some food. I ain't giving him no more food. He ate enough today. Look at
What's
him.
up, puppy? What's
Say
up,
hello.
puppy?
Say hello to TT. Say hello to TT. Oh, don't bite me.
Hey, ooh.
He likes to nip my nose for some reason. I have never understood that. Yeah, he wants some. He thinks I'm gonna give him some more food. He's been eating all day.
He said, look, back up.
Say hello.
He pretty. You
Mm-hmm.
pretty, sir. You pretty.
Yep. He about 15, 16 years old.
Is he really?
Yeah,
Damn.
I had him when I was living in College Park, and I've been over here for like 11 years. So he's
He,
up there, but is that
he
good
looks
living?
he looks good for his age, honey. He look good. He good
Mm,
in African American, honey, because
mm,
he's
yep.
aging really well. What you been up to, friend? It's been a minute since we've spoken online and we talk
Oh
online
God. Just,
offline a lot. What
just
you
you,
been
just,
doing?
honey, just adjusting to working from home, which is real cute, and trying to do some things, with COVID going
Uh,
on. It's kind of discouraging everywhere I go. I can't even go to a store. Everybody walking around. The sign clearly says, like you experienced in the gym, the sign will say, okay, you're supposed to have a mask on. I'm like in front of somebody, behind somebody. I'm the only one with a mask on. I said, okay, this can't work.
These
They
hoes don't care. They don't care.
don't.
And then, I understand if you was doing everything you can possibly do. 'Cause a lot of times you can do that, and hey, you may still catch COVID. It can happen. But when you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and you just out here just acting like you Billy badass and can't nothing happen to you, and then you
Mm-hmm.
catch COVID and you want to do all these goddamn PSA announcements and stuff. Y'all
You'll get
listen to folks, cause I thought it was a joke too. Those are
look.
folks that I be want to punch in the face.
Thank you. Look, back in 2019, right around early November, I caught COVID. Okay, and this is when they really weren't talking about it, where they were trying to
Uh huh.
deny its existence. And trust me, it was no joke. I mean, the symptoms were some. I have never had an experience like that. I mean, I was sitting in my room, and for some reason, I just became ice cold, just ice
Mhm.
cold. It just hit my body. Then all of a sudden, I got so hot, and I'm like, what the hell? Night sweats. I'm
Wow.
like, what is going on? My breathing was terrible. And and at first I just thought it was a regular cold. So I didn't think anything of it. Tried
Right.
doing everything I usually do for a cold. Nothing worked. I even went to urgent care. He gonna tell me, I will tell you this. You do not have the flu. But he wouldn't come out and say what I had. But he says, you do not have the flu. This is not the flu. I said, okay, that's encouraging.
Okay.
That's encouraging after paying $86 towards the insurance, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, to hear this is not the flu. But anyway, I went to my
Right.
acupuncturist. She gave me some pills, and in about 3 days, I was good.
What pills did she give you?
She gave me these pills like from plants. It literally looked like pieces of wood. But I took them,
Oh,
and after about 3 days, I was good to go.
so
You know,
you went to
my
your acupuncturist and got wood. That's what I'm gathering from this comment that you went to
Ooh,
your acupuncturist
she gave me some
and got
pills.
wood.
She gave me some pills from plants because they're very much into the whole holistic thing. I love her, and
And
I have two different acupuncturists I go to. She's more into like giving you these pills from her, from her country, but they're little small brown looking pills. But all I know is I took them, I felt better, and I kept it pushing. Now my other acupuncturist, she gave me literally what looked like bark, from trees and things like all these different plants, and she told me to make it into a tea. And I
okay.
did I did that, and like I said, between all that in 3 days, I was good. None of
I
the
believe
NyQuil.
that I
Mm-hmm.
believe the holistic medicines and stuff like that. I believe they work. I'm a
Well,
believer.
it must be realistic. The pharmaceutical companies, I mean, they'll give you anything just to keep the business going. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made in death.
And in side effects.
Thank you. Because I'm like, why am I going to take this pill that you're showing on TV just a moment ago? Side effects could be blindness, numbness, constipation, numbness in the hands and feet. I'm like, what the hell?
And you just and the only reason why you went in there was for a runny nose. And you be like,
Exactly.
so you need to tell me I'm gonna have anal leakage and all this other shit. And all I came in here is for a goddamn stuffy nose. Now
MSNBC.
I
You
don't
said
want my
ain't.
ass. Yes, you know how they do. They give
You
you
said
all that shit and cause blindness. Honey, just let me blow my nose. I'm not
you
trying to deal.
you said anal leakage. I'm like, Lord,
Where's the lie? Now act like you ain't never heard that in some of the side effects of some of these pills and they got anal leakage.
trust me. I was looking at what am I looking? I got the TV on mute, and
Well, that's good.
I was looking at MSNBC with Rachel Maddow. I like her because I think her girlfriend actually has COVID,
I don't know
and
any of them hoes.
well, you
I
gotta
don't
look
have
at MS.
cable. I don't have cable. I just have internet. And
Well,
so unless it's somewhere I can stream, I don't have it, girl.
I understand. I put my little glasses on. The funny thing is, the last time I came to your house, how long ago was that? When I sat in
Oh
your
God.
when I sat in your living room
Um,
and watched
let's
TV with
see.
you and Matthew. How long? And we walked to the park and everything. How long was that?
5 years, I'll say.
That's when I realized I actually needed glasses.
Why? Because you
I was
couldn't see the
wa-
TV.
I, you and me and Matthew, we were watching TV, and I couldn't see clearly what was in front of me, and that's when I went to get my eyes checked. And here comes the doctor. Well, you should have been wearing glasses your entire life. I mean, your eyeballs are shaped like footballs. So I'm like, okay, thank you.
Where, where, where? Oh, so you got so if it's shaped like footballs, then you have what they call it. You
Stigmatism.
have yes.
I think she said I was nearsighted, I believe she said something to that effect. But I never thought about it. It just goes to show, when you're feeling relatively well, you don't think to go get your eyes checked or get your hearing checked or things like that. But that was when I went and got my eyes checked. So I've been wearing glasses ever since.
Well, in your defense, though, the damn TV was in the TV room, so it wasn't like it was close. You know, it was a distance. You do need like binoculars to see it because of the fact that I don't have it like most people do, where it's close.
Well, it
And
was
that's how I also realized that I needed glasses because the further things are, the blurrier they are. However, I didn't know they were that blurry until I had my eyes checked. And I was like, oh, it's like I can see in half definition now. He was like, yeah, you need glasses. I was like, okay, well, I
Thank you.
guess I
I
am
was
40
thinking
something now.
you're still young. We're all still young, even though I'm 52. But
I can't believe that. I can't believe that you 50 anything. I remember
isn't it?
you, Mark, when you was in your 20s, honey,
Thank you.
and I was just a baby.
I remember when I first met you and you came over the house with that young lady. What was her name? The one that used to be with studs one day and guys the next. What was her name?
Audrey.
Yes. You two came over the house. I think she was a friend of Nicole's.
She
And
was. Did you say
mm-hmm.
she would be with studs one day and then hooving it?
Yeah, because I remember the dispute she got into with the stud that she was dating over her ex-boyfriend or something, some little thing back in the day. And I
Actually, it wasn't even
and,
an ex boyfriend. It was her current, honey.
mm,
She was dating somebody then, and I was like, "So wait, you got a whole man, and you out here in these streets with me?"
mm.
But
Hey,
we went to high school together. But yes, I remember that too.
you had all this energy. I said, look at this bubbly child, just bubbly and smiling and friendly. And I'm like,
I wasn't
you
like. I keep telling people I wasn't like the other girls. I was always nice and
yes,
mannerable and very
yes, you were.
approachable. And
Look, thank you. I met you when you were a little bit young, and every time we used to drive around, oh, that child, she need to get her hair done. Oh, look at those ends, honey. Those split ends look terrible. And I just said to you, if you can get up that early in the morning and be thinking about someone's hair and how wrong it is, you need to go and get into hair.
because
That
I
was
was in
definitely
college, I wasn't even in hair school at the time, and you was
not at
like, "Girl,
all.
what you need to be is in hair school because this is what you
Exactly.
think about all the time."
Because every time we drove around, you had a comment about someone's hair being wrong, or ooh, her style looked good, but that color wrong. And I'm like, damn, okay, go to school, get your cosmetology license.
Get your shit, girl. Do
As I,
something. Look, do something with your life.
honey, I'm so proud of
So,
you.
what have you been doing? Like, what are some things that you've been doing this time during this COVID-19 moment? You were telling me about a show earlier. It was called gstatus.
Yes.
No,
Over the internet, this little show called gstatus. I watched the first season. A bunch of gay men, I guess, on the come up, trying to show what they do, and it just kind of it was entertaining because a lot of drama. And to me, the
so you
show sent. Go ahead.
no. Go ahead. I'm listening.
I was just saying that the first season of the show centered around to me a character named Sherrod who does porn, and everybody just tried to make such a big deal about what he did, but then at the same time he wasn't really secure with what he did. He's like, okay, this is what I do, but I don't want you to talk about it. And I just used to think, look, you gotta be proud and stand in your truth. This is what you do. This is what you do, and fuck the bitches. But they just kind of made that a major part of the show, kind of dogging him out and talking about him and everything else, among other things in terms of the characters on the show. But he's on the second season, and then there was some type of controversy with a transgender woman. She's Mexican, and she made a
Hmm.
comment saying the N word and using the term lynching and stuff. Ever since that last episode or so, I have not seen the show. It's been at least 2 months now. So I don't know if it's
I
been
was.
canceled or what happened. And maybe I'm missing something. There was no explanation on what happened. It was definitely entertaining.
It's funny that you mentioned that because last night I was live while I was working on pulling these damn stairs, this carpet up, and um, Bambi 7 Bambi 19, who is also, I would say, honey, we call her cousin Faith, honey, but she comes through here, honey, and just wrecks, honey, and I just love her to death. But she came through and she was saying something about that that the young lady had said something about using the N word and lynching, but then I guess there was
Mm-hmm.
some sort of confessional or something where her and whoever else on the show that heard her say that, they were like, we don't even know what lynching means. And I was just like, who in 2021 don't know what the hell lynching is?
Well, I think there's a character called named Roderick who's very androgynous. He's like, I think he calls himself Pretty Boy. He's not
Uh huh.
he's not a female impersonator, but he does like getting in women's clothes and the wigs, and he's very pretty
He's
when he
very
gets all
gender fluid.
exactly gender fluid. And
Okay.
I believe he or she was the one that the comment was made to. And she, being African American, black, whatever term you want to use, she said she didn't know what lynching was. And I'm like, okay, I realize that you are of the younger generation, but for you
But
not to
girl,
understand the history behind the term is not too
yes,
far fetched to believe, because a lot of these young kids
really.
before George Floyd, they were always saying to me, like, once upon a time I used to catch a train and I would have to be engaged in conversation with these people while I'm on my way to work. And the young black kids would always say to me, well, racism, that's more like my parents' generation, my grandmama's generation. So a lot of these young kids honestly did not have a clue on what was going on around them. And it just used to bog my mind. And then now you look at TV and you see the protesting all across the country, and it's now become their civil rights movement. But trust me, that's not too far fetched to believe.
It was
These
very far
kids
fetched
have
for me
this.
to believe.
Yeah, but when I listen to these kids, like right in front of my face on the train, telling me these things, I just sit there like, wow. I mean, they
We
honestly
are we are
didn't
at
have
a
a clue.
point to where we are so. I guess that can be
Desensitized.
good and bad, right? I guess if they're not having to experience that type of stuff, then it's not their reality. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
maybe we are a tad bit further
Mhm.
than I think we are
Yeah, and
because I know the difference.
it's a blessing, because I can honestly say, as a black man, 52 years old, I have never been arrested, never even held a gun. And the few
Mm.
times I was pulled over by the police, it was a blessing. I walked away because I have a mouth, and I did not have any adverse. You know me. I didn't have any adverse experiences. No one pulled me out in no car trying to whoop my butt. Nothing. Just little traffic, speeding and things like that. And it was a blessing. It's been behind me the entire time.
Wow. I mean, I have to admit, yeah, you have been pretty blessed because, baby, your tongue.
I'll never. When I was going to school, where was I? I was at some school I was going to, and the cop said, "You didn't realize I was behind you." I said, "Yeah, I heard you behind me. I just didn't think it was for me." I just kept on driving and driving. He followed me for like blocks and blocks and blocks, and then at some point I decided, okay, I think he's after me, and let me pull over. And he said, and why didn't you pull over when you first heard me? I said, like I said, I didn't realize you was. I don't think I had done anything wrong, so I just kept on driving. And he said, you ran that light. I said, well, probably. I said, I have a test to take that you're keeping me from.
Where were you at?
I was over there off of Memorial Drive, over in that neighborhood. And amazingly enough, he just gave me a ticket and kept it pushing, because he easily could have snatched me out the car and I could have been a statistic.
You
But
could have.
here's the funny thing though. Before the internet, before cell phones, and now everybody being able to just record you, think about all the brothers and sisters who were beaten up, harassed, and killed that we will never know
Mhm.
about, because there was no
Mhm.
one around to record or witness the event.
Mhm.
That's what kind
Mhm.
of I think about. All the people we
Mhm.
will we will never know about.
Mhm.
And that just
Yeah,
like,
I think
whew.
about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
definitely think about that as well.
I was looking
And
at,
that
go ahead, baby. I mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
no, no, I was gonna say I was thinking about that as well. And I think that a lot of times we take this shit for granted. We
Oh yeah.
really do. I have to say that I've been blessed as well because I've not had to experience any of that either. I remember one time I got pulled over and I was coming from somewhere, either a client's house or something, and I had all my mannequins in the back of the car. So it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
nothing but a whole bunch of heads back there. And he was real nice. And this was, of course, during a time where I was still back and forth. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So I'm giving you this one day, but then licenses and everything else said something totally different. So it could be quite confusing, if not discriminative. You know what I'm saying? But every time they were really nice. I didn't have any issues. And that's why, and then the ones that I know personally, I've not had any issues with. And the ones that I know personally, they kind of talk about the cops that we see on television doing this crazy stuff, and they talk about how, you know, where the police department or the academy could do a little bit better because typically there are things you see in police academy school because they rate them as the C and D cops. So like
Mm-hmm.
they barely passed. They barely made it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they get out just acting ridiculous. So it's like an admission that there are some people out there that they know are going to be problematic. But during the time where there wasn't a lot of people wanting to be cops, a lot of them got on the force. And I believe that happens today. But all the ones that I know are good people. We don't have any issues. They don't have any issues. I trust them. And it's cool. But it's the ones that you can't trust, that you don't know. And that's why I'm thankful because I'm like, ooh,
Well,
girl,
you
that could
always
have
go,
been me.
you always you're always going to have that blue wall. They're always going to protect
Mm-hmm.
themselves no matter what. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it just always amazes me. You're always going to have a bad apple in the bunch at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But
In anything.
I was scanning through YouTube, and I was looking at an old episode of Chasing Dallas where they had their reunion show, and
Mm-hmm.
the trans woman, I think her name was
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ariel. I love her,
Mm-hmm. I do
and
too.
I love her because she just has that southern, no, in your face, not going to take your mess, but kind of classy. I love that about
Yeah.
her.
I like her.
And
She reminds me of a lot of the girls here back home
mhm,
that I've met. She's talented. She knows how to sew. Like she make you know what I'm saying? Like I
mhm.
watched her work and I'm like, I can see me being cool with her because she seemed real cool. You can tell she has a genuine spirit. I hope that she ends up being on the next season because she was one of the people that I really like to see on the show. It was some
I
people on there that was just
Yeah, I want to see more of her. They kept more of
me
the
too.
more drama
Me,
going. I want to see
yeah,
more of her, but
I do
I
too.
think the point that she brought home was a lot of people criticized her over the remarks that she made about the black men, because one of her sisters was killed, and I
Hmm.
think it was Dallas or so in some city, and she was
Hmm.
killed. They found her body on the side of the road, and she was very emotional about it. So she made some comments about when they pull these black guys, because a lot of these brothers, how can I put this and be careful what
A
I'm
lot
saying?
of them are
They're
killing us. A lot of them are
exactly,
down
and
low. They
they're
are part
very.
of the
I
problem. They're
mean, it's
not
like
the
this.
solution. The
If
DL
you're
brothers, etc.
exactly, if you're a trans woman minding your business, going about your
Hmm.
life, and
Hmm.
you are so insecure of yourself that you got to take time out of your life to come into this woman's space to do
Hmm.
her harm, you've got some
Hmm.
issues. You got some
Agreed.
issues, and that's ridiculous. And all
Agreed.
these girls, they had oh my god, I was looking somewhere. I think over 24 girls in the course of a year had been killed. The ones that we know about, a whole bunch of
Right.
girls were killed in Louisiana, and they even
Hmm.
showed a tape of one girl running. The guys who were chasing her, and I do believe who killed her, were filming themselves chasing her and talking about her
Really?
like yes, and she was running for her life, and they're just laughing about it and everything and putting it on their Facebook pages. And I was sitting there thinking, whew, wow. I mean, it's just sad when you live in a world where people are so uncomfortable with themselves, they won't allow you to be yourself. It's just ridiculous. These trans
Yeah.
girls have a right to go. And then someone had said, well, a lot of these girls are doing sex work and blah, blah, blah. I said, wait a
But
minute.
that
First of
doesn't mean
all,
that they deserve any of this stuff because
exactly.
we all do things for work.
Thank you. I said,
I feel like people want to validate their discrimination and validate their hate with shit like that. I don't care what you do. She could be a sex worker. That
exactly.
doesn't mean that
You
doesn't
have
mean
no
you
right to
have the
kill her.
right to beat her. You have the right to
Exactly.
because she's providing a
Exactly.
service that you're looking for that you're going to pay for. And,
Supply
and,
and
and
demand.
right,
Supply and demand.
exactly. I mean, so let's not say that when people say shit like that, I really look at them and I kind of ask questions because I'm like, well, why are you making that okay?
Exactly.
Just because?
Well, what
So if
about
you're doing,
um what about these young men on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook with these pages and these only fan pages where they're literally fucking raw, sucking raw, and you're sitting there paying $5.99 or $25 a month to watch them fuck. To me, that's sex work too. And I'm not judging it, but
It
you can't
is.
say,
It
oh,
is sex work.
she's this, she's that. I mean, to me, it's all the same. I mean, I could care less.
I agree.
Look, if I had a halfway decent body, I'll get an OnlyFans page too. Trust me.
Well, see, I think
I,
you need to. I think you need to get an OnlyFans page, even with the body that you have now, because there's a market for everything out there, baby.
ooh, I know that's the truth because I saw this one child and
There's a
she was
market for
big
everything.
and she said go to my OnlyFans page. She was a big girl and she was bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said she's making some money. I said, but then hey, I work for the government. I'm gonna have to wait till I finish working, retire, and try
This is
something like
true.
that, honey. I can see
Let
right
that
now
be a
my
part of your
coworker.
retirement plan, baby, and call this silver
Mm-hmm.
fox, honey. That's what you can do.
See, mm-mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
I
why
agree with
not?
that. So what other um shows have you watched? I know
Let's see.
I am liking that the reality shows are having more trans women in them.
Thank you.
So I definitely like the fact that Ariel is on Dallas. I love the fact that Lil Kendra is on Chasing Atlanta. I
Yes.
think that there are definitely some things that she needs to work out. But at that age, there are a lot of things that we have to work out. So
I love
I
Kendra.
want to see her
Kendra
work
to
out.
me is beautiful because to me she's a real girl, and I love the
Yes,
fact that with a lot of our ebony melon sisters, they when they transition, they just look good. Because to me, she looks authentic. She looks like one of the girls I'd see walking down the street, and
agreed.
I wouldn't think twice about her. You know.
Agreed. Agreed.
Now,
She's not, and I'm saying this not to throw shade to anybody because it's not to any one particular person. She's not blowed up, filled up. She don't look like a stuffed pumpkin. She don't look like any of that. But some of the
mhm.
girls do too much. They all want to get their faces pumped. They always end up looking like puffed up cats. They're like
Well,
little
that's
kittens.
well because they're going to these backdoor places. I mean, there's a
Some of
girl up.
them aren't. It's a whole
Mhm.
mood. Like a lot of the genetic women want that look too. So like if you go to like California, look at the Kardashians. Their faces are pumped like that. Like the girls' faces used to be pumped back in the day.
They are
So now
ridiculous.
it's a standard.
They're literally like Frankenstein monsters. They are just literally just every time you turn around, something's getting sucked, plucked. I mean, come on now. I mean, you want to look like a black woman so badly, but then to me,
They do. But then
they have no respect for black women as from what I've observed personally. But they want to look like black women. They want to have the asses like black women, and then they want to turn around and try to take everybody's man, and then want to be surprised that they can't keep a man.
girl, now
I,
that's what I don't get. Cause I'd be
the
like,
way
girl,
the way you get them is the way you get them is the way you're going to lose them.
the way you gonna lose them, Miss Mama,
They just think.
honey.
I mean, they really think that their pussies are golden, like the fountain of youth. I mean, if I stick my dick in your pussy, I'm gonna go back 10, 15, 20 years. I
You say
mean,
they
come on.
would.
You a
They say
woman. You're a woman
they
like every other woman out here. Your pussy ain't all that. Come on now. And
what you say is
Chloe,
golden like the fountain of youth.
yes. I mean, they think like I'm going to get younger if I stick my dick in their pussy. I mean, come on now. You just got a pussy like every other woman out here. And
Some of them
Chloe,
feel like to have them a Kardashian, they've truly made it. Like
and
they're
that's
a part of the movement.
and they're really ridiculous. I mean, Chloe, what she was with, she took French Montana from Trina. Trina said she didn't know about it until they had moved in together, and she heard about it online or something. I mean,
Wait,
she's
I thought that
famous.
they were just friends. I thought Trina and French were just friends.
The impression I got listening to Trina talk, they were more than friends. And then she found out Chloe had hooked up with him. She's always famous for taking somebody else's man and then getting all upset because someone cheated on her. I'm like, bitch, please, excuse me,
But I
stop it.
mean, in Hollywood, everybody is somebody else's man or woman in
Thank you.
Hollywood. So that's just called dating.
You ain't never
That's
lied.
that's just
You
called
ain't.
dating. Cause hell, even if you're not in Hollywood, baby, these motherfuckers is still
Mm,
acting like
you ain't.
you know. Look, I see both sides said they still look good. Who look good? Who?
I'm trying to see when I look at them. I mean, you're not real. Someone had
Yes,
a
royalty.
page. They had a before and after page of each of them, and I used to. And I looked. I was like, damn, that is the. that heifer got some work done. And
But I would have to say they do look better than their befores. I'm not gonna take it away from them. They look a whole lot better than they. I mean, and anyone like they look bad in there
mm-hmm,
before. They just look like they, were like, regular, degular high school girls. Not really
mm-hmm,
rich.
mm-hmm.
Cute. You know what I'm saying? Cute little head cheerleader, giving you that type of stuff. Not prom queen, but giving you like head cheerleader or the Louis Vuitton twirler and those type of things. But now they give you like glamour, Miss America, and all of that with they Sarah Bartlett bodies.
And my
That
thing is
that
this, but you have to keep on doing it and maintain it. Now they got Chloe doing some commercial for some pill, I guess, that helps with migraines and things like that. I'm looking, I said, bitch, please, you haven't had a migraine in your life. Stop it.
she
So I'm
might
like,
have migraines now for all
well,
that
she
work that
may
she had
have, but I'm just, but
done.
maybe she has a migraine because she's always stressing over losing a man. But
Oh,
I'm just like looking at the commercial and I'm looking at her. I said, damn, she had even more work done. She looks different from the last time I even looked at the Kardashians. I'm like, Lord Jesus. She
what she
got,
looked different than she did 2 weeks ago.
you know who I'm impressed with though? I love
Who?
Chris, the mama. The
I
mama.
have to say that too.
She's
We
a
have all said
beast.
that.
I wish she could
She's a
manage
beast.
me. I wish she
Me
could manage
too.
me because she
Me
can take
too.
three girls with basic intelligence. I think only one of them has a college degree, Courtney, and she made them into billionaires.
You
You
said
know,
basic intelligence.
yes, and
It be
she made
it
them
be
into
your little slight. It be your slight little cute reads for me.
what?
She
But
only took
she
three girls with basic intelligence.
exactly, and they're no better looking than any other woman because they have enhancements. So we're not even looking at them in their natural state,
It's
But
all
they're
about how you
what's that?
put the product up and how you set it up and how you market it. She's definitely the gold,
She's a
baby.
beast,
She
and
can
it's
make
like
the
this:
money off
you're
anything.
getting black features, but all the black women with these features naturally can't make the money that the Kardashians make. You see what I'm
Can
saying?
I?
You
Yep.
got you got the Braxtons, and
Yeah.
they actually have talent. They have things going for them. They can't make the money the Kardashians make. I mean, you're still looking at a world where we want the white women, but we want those black features. We want the white women, the big butts and the big lips. Now, once upon a time, big lips was frowned upon. Once upon a
Yes.
time.
They will
Once
call
upon a
you a
time.
coon, a
Yes,
monkey, and all that stuff.
exactly.
Now they walk around with lips that look like hemorrhoids. If you ask
Thank
me, they
you.
so damn big and wrinkly and folded. And you like, girl, your mouth really do look like a booty hole. Like it
Like that.
really do look like a booty hole with
Who's that young?
hemorrhoids.
There's a young girl, that Instagram girl who sleeps with all the rappers and then she puts them on blast. I was watching her
Which
and she's got,
one?
I can't think of
Which
her name.
one? It's
She's
several.
young,
It's
dumb,
several.
full of
It's
cum.
several.
I can't
It's
think of her name
several.
off of my
Yeah.
the top of my head, but she was just talking about when she outed Snoop Dogg and everything. And she's sitting there just like, oh, he did this and I'm just looking at her like, really, young lady?
Girl.
This is
Girl.
what your life is about.
Mm-hmm.
I just shook my head. Oh, and they just had something recently on Trey's songs on the internet talking about how he likes to sexually harass females, and I think Megan Thee Stallion had something to say about that, and these other women who I didn't recognize were saying things. I'm like, really?
Girl,
Who's this,
niece,
Aunt?
that's my niece, honey. She be reading. I don't be reading. Well, actually, when I have a conversation with you, I do my inner read. I do be reading all the
Who's this? I don't want you to ever come for me when I read because this is a master class.
time. Baby, that's my niece. My niece,
Okay,
Donna Artist, honey. She reads, honey. She
okay.
reads. But yeah, girl, I mean, this is true. But it was she took rebates and girls and made them
Mhm.
millionaires. It was that
Yes,
comment for me.
yeah.
That was
And I was just like, and I sit there and I listen to them, and then you see the two black girl, with the one black girl who's I guess she's Chloe's attache, beard, slave. What's her name? Mika. I think it's
She
Mika.
got a new one. Okay, because one of the other girl, the girl with the makeup line, went in her at first. What was her name?
I'm not
Or was
sure
it
what her name.
somebody else's?
I know
They
it's
always have a a subservient black friend that makes it like they make money off them. They become wealthy as well, but they always have a subservient
yeah, they have to
black
have somebody who they can kind of
maiden,
throw ideas
house
off of. Okay,
maiden.
is this making me black enough? They want to kind of observe her,
Mhm.
and I think her name was
Mhm.
Mika because she had a baby with some rapper, not married. You know how they do. and
she pretty much birthed
following in their footsteps for the most part.
she birthed her future.
That's pretty much. And I'm like, okay. And I just looked at the show. They went to some hotel. I'm like, why am I looking at this? I just turned to SVU. I said, I can't take any more Kardashian. They get
Well, it is. I mean, if you watch the Kardashians, it is like watching the Special Victims Unit. I mean,
oh, because they're
just with
victims.
money.
They
Just
victimize
no,
us.
they're special.
They
They're special
victimized us
victims.
watching that shit. Oh, I loved the episode where Courtney was smacking the shit out of Kim and they had that little so-called fight.
Bitch,
Ooh,
that little
that was
Kim,
it was
I didn't see it,
hilarious.
but I saw it all over the internet, and I was like, "Girl, why are they?" And she was coming for her. What
Honey, it was
happened?
just as funny as well. Why don't you look at Chase in Atlanta where they had the fight scene and these are
Oh,
men and they're fighting like this and doing all this helicopter stuff. I'm like, what type of fighting is that?
that's
I'm
how
like, throw
that's
some
how
hands. They just
no, that's
oh,
how we queens fight. You gotta have that certain stance,
ooh.
and you gotta put your head down, and then you gotta start windmilling. Like I don't know the uppercuts and all that. They don't do all that no more. Like that's too
I noticed
masculine.
that because my thing is, if you're doing all this, I could be standing on the side just looking at you like a fool. I'm like,
And
okay, boo.
you gotta make sure and see. You gotta do it right. You gotta make sure you like. It's gotta be very much this. Now. Like, what is all of that, girl?
Thank
And
you,
you don't have no titties, girl. So what is
thank
you
you.
doing, girl? It's
I
always that. But let me tell you something. This right here,
mm,
if you hit somebody with this, that should hurt.
thank you. I can imagine. I watched that and I'm just like, they do too much talking for me. I'm like, the first thing out your mouth, bam. I'm like, that's just too much talking. I'm sorry. We're gonna either fight or we're not. I'm not gonna do all this. I'm sorry. Let's take it off camera. I can beat your ass and come back and get back on camera. That's just too much. That is
Or bitch, we can take it
too
off
much.
camera and I can get my ass beat. But here's what we're not gonna do.
Exactly. Thank
We're
you.
not gonna keep talking about it, girl. I'm done talking. Like I was telling you the other night, I said, girl, back in the day when I used to test people and
Mm-hmm.
I would like you would be laughing and bitch, I blow up and I said, girl, I can't. I'm 40 something. I don't do that no more. Like I don't want to. If I hit somebody, my hands gonna hurt today because you know I got
Mm-hmm.
like carpal tunnel, girl. Like I can't do all that. I gotta take myself out of that space. But I remember being 20 something. I remember
Mm-hmm.
being not as vicious as they are, girl, because I loved fun times. You
Exactly.
have to you have to get me there to get me that vicious. But I remember a time where girl, shit, I'll be ready. The windmill too. And
Well,
don't let me think that you talking about me. Because you probably can't won't be talking about me and I just blow up.
who was the child who I think you told me back in the day who hit you and ran? Who was that?
Bitch.
Who was that? It was
Bitch at the club.
Courtney's friend. Courtney's friend.
Uh-uh. Mm-mm. We not gonna say names. We're not gonna say names. We're gonna act like this is SVU. We're gonna change the name to protect the innocence, etc. Yeah, she hit me and she ran.
Like,
She ran. And
and I,
of course, you know, girl, at that time, girl, you know, I was a good damn near almost 300 pounds, girl. And you see me out here
mm,
trying to run after this bitch, girl. Girl, she could be jogging and could have been running faster than me, girl, because I was out of breath and everything. But let me tell you something. I picked up them bricks, bitch, and I was gonna hit that help with that damn brick upside her goddamn head. And so all them
mm,
folks grabbed me and grabbed her. It's like, girl, you gonna go to jail. Don't do that. Like, Miss Tony, don't do that. You know, but she ran. And then we left. Then we left because somebody told us where she lived. And she lived over there in those apartments where you used to live, where I met
no,
you. She lived
no.
she lived over there. So me
What?
and my two friends sat in her apartment, outside her apartment for like hours waiting for her to come home and she never did.
Because she knew better.
I don't know if she knew better, bitch, or God was saving me from an ass whooping. I have no idea. But I just knew I was pissed. I just knew I was pissed, bitch. And I was like, I'm not letting this shit go. But you know, I be going to the club fighting like this. So once you get me there, I can't come out of it. I have
Exactly.
to I have to do something. It had
Exactly.
everybody, the manager of the club, but it was a big club. And that was connections. It
Yes,
was
it
a big
was.
club. You had the manager like, oh my God, girl, this is not you. Like, bitch, people don't just walk up and hit me. So you getting something different out of me tonight.
Exactly. I'm
I
like,
don't know where it is.
that's
I also
crazy.
remember I also remember that during that time, my two friends, you gonna be hold on, y'all. Okay, come on up. My two friends, well, there was three friends there with me that night.
Hmm.
However, that was that was there. However, two of them was the only ones that was helping because the third one, I don't know what's going on. What happened? Oh my God. So
We
we
never
learned
had those
quickly.
problems when we went out together.
We did not. So we learned quickly that that particular person is not the person that you
Hmm.
know. If it's you and five other people, bitch, you getting jumped by five people because she ain't finna jump in and do nothing. She's gonna be somewhere acting like I was in the bathroom and I had the runny guts and I didn't know what happened. I just came out and they were there. No, bitch, you was scared you gonna get your ass kicked, so you just stayed on the sideline.
Well,
That's what
honey,
happened.
well, these girls here in Atlanta, honey, they love to fight. I was looking at the internet
I
recently. What was
know
that?
they do.
Rico got in a fight with JD Blackstone.
Yes, and you know, I
Hmm.
actually had a if you watched my friend Jasmine Divine show, she actually interviewed JD Blackstone, and I really liked him. But all of them out there that was fighting, it was like an OnlyFans brawl because all of them had OnlyFans page. All of them are very
Hmm.
much in the industry, so I guess it was like meet and greet. I don't know what it was, but it was like everybody out there that was fighting. You know, it was like all of them pretty much played with each other, had scenes with each other, and then was out fighting each other. I was like, girl, that energy, I don't like that. If I mess with you and we cool, we doing business, we friends, I don't want to have to worry about fighting you the next week. I don't have time for that, girl. That's too
Well,
much.
from what I heard, like I said, because none of us were there, I think it was Rico or
What did you
someone saying
hear?
that it started in the club. And I think Rika was saying something to the effect that they started his JD's group started with them. So it started from the inside, then spilled
Oh,
over to the outside, whatever. And it was a mess. And I think Tay was the one that was in his drawers and those little boxers fighting. He took off his clothes and was in his boxers. What's this girl? They should have got him.
oh, girl, they should have got a nice coin, honey. I
They
mean,
should have
they
got.
should have actually and rolled it up as a
Mm-hmm.
OnlyFans special or something. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, because when I finally saw the video, I was looking, I was like, wait a minute, and it was only two people that I really, well, three people that I recognized, and that's just through social media these last few months.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, I was like, well, damn. I don't see all of them on Twitter talking about their OnlyFans page. So this was
Mm-hmm.
like, was this an OnlyFans reunion or
No, it was just a night at the
what?
it was a night it was a night at the club. But the cute one, Tay, there was a part two where him and JD got into a second altercation. You didn't see that
A
video?
part? No.
Yes, it's on Twitter. You can go pull up either JD or Tay's page, and Tay was saying to JD, "Okay, where you at? Where you at?" And JD's like, "Well, girl, I don't want to beat your ass." And then they met at a apartment complex, and Tay whooped JD's ass for the most part.
See,
Mm-hmm.
this is another reason why I don't do a whole bunch of talking shit. Just because I'm not constantly in the ring boxing, folks. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
constantly training like that. I'm training my brain. I'm training my hustle muscle. I'm training my finances to be what I need
Mm-hmm.
them to be. So I'm not gonna test you like that because I don't really know what your skill set is. I just
Mm-hmm.
know if I'm in a situation where I have to defend myself, I'm definitely gonna put my best foot forward. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to antagonize and like, bitch, don't say too much. I'll show up and quick kick your ass because it's been so many years since I fought somebody, girl. I probably will get my ass handed to me. That's
Thank
why
you. Well,
I don't do that no more. Now I'm just gonna
especially
shoot you. That's just it.
especially
How
these
in the
girls,
hell did you
especially
get
these
up here?
girls. Oh,
Go.
hey, baby. Especially the girls in this younger generation. These younger girls now, they like to fight. That's just what they do. So it's not
That
smart.
it's like eating for them. It's like
Yeah.
eating for them. Fighting and eating. That's what they want to do. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
girl. I'm gonna go eat. You go fight, girl. And like this is a situation where somebody's trying to, it's one of my girls. We chilling. They not antagonizing the situation, and something fall out. I mean, obviously, I got to be there to protect and support, my folks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you just doing a whole bunch, I'm telling you right now, if you doing a whole bunch and you causing all this ruckus and your mouth don't know the check that your ass can't cash, bitch, you just gonna have to be mad at me because I'm not gonna get myself fucked up because you don't know how to shut the fuck up. Like, no, you gonna
Exactly.
get the ass whooping. We gonna take it as a lesson, and the next time we go out, you gonna shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
I
You don't
got
get
you as defense, but I am not gonna
exactly.
be offense.
In other words, you're not going to create a situation and think I'm going to jump in for something you created.
Girl, I'll
Thank
be
you.
like my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, what happened? I was just in a restroom and I had orders and I was just talking and you was fighting. I don't know what happened. I'm gonna give you
Dude,
that.
I remember back in the day, every time we used to hang out, and someone would always have something to say, and you were always so poised and just
I
like
was.
you kept on. I'm the one that said something every
I
time,
did. I'll be
and
like,
I'm
girl,
like,
because I'm not
exactly.
you touch me is different. You touch me is different.
And with
But if
me,
you
if I
just saying something, girl, say what you gotta say. Because I'm gonna get
because
right up in this car that's paid for. You about to get right up on the bus or in your friend's car or whatever because you don't have shit. And I could always identify a bitch who ain't got shit to lose.
mm-hmm,
They always test hoes who got something to lose. And
exactly.
I was always working towards something. That's why
Mm-hmm.
from chasing Atlanta, I see a lot of like Lauren on there. I see a lot of me during that time, except I wasn't as
Insecure and
shady,
bougie and bougie.
insecure
Oh,
or shady like that to people just
exactly.
generally. I just wasn't. But I was on my hustle just like she was. So
Mm-hmm.
or is. I can understand why she don't put herself in situations like that, like physically fight, because that can really mess with her brain and her money if she's really lined up with these businesses and opportunities like she says that she is.
Mm-hmm.
However, I also don't try to say a whole bunch of shit and cameras rolling that you don't wrote that check. Now you don't have
Mm-hmm.
to cash that bitch, and you can't just be ghosted all the time and not show up. And that's why the girls are like, girl, so you got your client that you got to be at, girl. That's why you can't came. No, you didn't come because you know they was gonna whoop your ass.
Well, my attitude with her is looking at her from the last season or two and looking at her now, I don't see the growth. I mean, she still puts herself on the pedestal. She still acts like she's better than people. And I just like, and your daddy's doing most of the work anyway, because he's the one that really helps her with everything. And I'm like, just be humble. She's not a humble person. That insecurity. I mean, she said on the last episode, her dad doesn't even know that she's transitioning. So he hasn't even seen her yet. So I'm like, well,
Yeah,
honey, if you can't even live in your truth, you're not
I
in a position.
it's funny that you stated insecurities, and this is not a session for those because, like I said, I do. I have respect for all of them. However, um, this is this. It's funny that you say insecurities because a lot of stuff that she does in in the response of acting better than
Mm-hmm.
and putting herself up on this high pedestal, all of those things are defense mechanisms. Those are
Exactly.
when
Exactly.
it's her way of justifying and trying to feel better for herself because she really does give a fuck about what the girls think about her. She really
Exactly.
does have issues. I mean, that's why it's like I gotta have the best. I know what that looks like because I've been there. I
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't nasty to people. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But if I
Exactly.
walk in a room with people that I don't know and I'm really iffy about, bitch, my bougie do clock in. She does. But I don't say fucked up things to people and I just sit and watch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
You were
yeah,
you were
she
you were always very refined, even in your younger days. When we went out, I was always the one who would look at people like they were crazy. And you'd be like,
I'm like, boy,
you're like, Mark,
girl,
be nice, be nice. I'm like, I know that
girl, I'm
bitch.
like, girl, like, chill out. Like, shit, girl, what are you doing? I don't like the way she looked at me. I said, yo, New York is coming out. Yo, New York is coming out. She just looked at you. How you know she not looking at you with interest? And 9 times out of 10, they were looking at you with interest. It
The
was the
funny thing,
northern part of you that didn't
yes.
don't speak to me, don't say
Mm-hmm.
hi. like, girl, they just said hi. Like,
I
you mad?
I lost out on a lot of opportunities I think God was putting in my way. I think I was just so jaded over my relationship with, I'm gonna say, Miss Girl, that I just didn't want to open myself up at that point because I was really into her. I really was.
And
And after that,
that's something that has always surprised me about you, just how fluid you are with your attraction to people.
yeah, because my thing is this: back in the day, we called the girls female impersonators. We didn't have those terms of transgender, trans fluid, anything like that. I just saw a person who did female impersonation, and when she was done, she came out of her dress and out of her, clothes and everything, and she was just who she was. It didn't bother me one bit. I mean, and now I'm thinking to myself, could I date an actual trans woman or trans man? Because I'm of the older generation, so we see
Mm.
things a little differently. So I always wonder,
Well, you know my answer to that,
how would I
honey.
feel if I'm someone's race? Well, I know. Well, you've always been sexually fluid, so that's not even an issue for you. And I mean, if I can date someone who's a female impersonator and not have an issue with it, then I think a trans woman wouldn't be much of a stretch for me. If I met the right person with a nice personality, it wouldn't be a stretch at all. The trans man thing is kind of what throws me off because I've watched trans videos and I'm like,
Mm.
I see this big old man, but then I see the genitalia, and I'm thinking to myself,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not sure because I mean, I'm thinking I might be missing something, but I've never had the experience. So, I mean, I'll try anything, see how it is. But it just amazes me, the girls and what they go through. I mean, I was sitting there,
I
but
mean,
one,
so for me though, the way that I think about it, because see, you are versatile in a sense. I don't know
yeah,
what you're more of and more not. I'll let you divulge that information. It's not my story to tell, but I know that you are versatile, and I do know that from that penetration standpoint, I mean, you're still seeing the male aspect of it.
mhm.
I think that you could. I think that you could do it. I really
Yeah.
do think that you could. I
Well,
really
Lord
do think
knows
that you could.
if I get a trans man, that's gonna be my first time with some for JJ. I might be like, because Flame does
It's
love
not that
trans
bad at
women.
all.
What
Yeah,
happened?
yeah, yeah. It's not bad at all. It's not. But yeah,
See,
Flame is. I think Flame has kind of veered towards that. Flame has been in a lot of the news and articles here lately.
well, I think Tiffany Haddish helped her. She always says that Tiffany Haddish gave her a chance after all these
Yeah,
years, when all these people would say to her, "And I'm gonna bring you on. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that," and they never would.
yeah.
And Tiffany gave her a chance. Now she's really out there. I'm sorry, a lot of people had a problem with her Breakfast Club interview, but I loved her. I loved her Breakfast Club interview. I did.
Which one? The
And
first
people are
one?
just like, the very first one, the one where she really got the
I
flack
didn't have
about
a.
what she was
I
saying.
didn't have a. The he, she, we, and then us. I get it, because, but we're older. You know what I'm saying? We're kind of in that
Exactly.
age group where we understand the history and where we've come from. And for us, there were
Mm-hmm.
certain things and words that just didn't have the same level of hurt that it does to people today. So we see things differently. And it's not that we were giving people passes. We actually took the power away from them. We didn't let
Exactly.
those words and phrases define who we are, or who we were. So it's
Exactly.
just, I think it's just a difference
Exactly.
in generation. Um, and that's it. So I've never had problem with what she says as it relates to her. The one thing that I will say that I think that she needs to be a little more open to, because I find myself being open to it, is the fact it's just a genuine basic um rule. Just respect people and how they feel about themselves. And if they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be regarded as that, you can't force that on them. Just
Yeah,
like,
true.
and so I feel like sometimes that, because it's like, oh girl, it's not that serious, but you're telling someone at that point that the way they feel, and how something you said made them feel is irrelevant or it doesn't matter, you can't do that either. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
I
Because you
agree.
wouldn't want anybody to do that to you. So I think that's the one thing that I feel that she could work on.
Exactly. And she made a few statements that I had issue with. I mean, but at the same time, people are welcome to have an opinion and have a
Yes,
different point of view, and you can still come together and discuss it.
absolutely.
Because she throws certain terms out there that the transgender community finds very offensive. They don't like the term tranny, and she used
But
that a
but
lot through
this
the interview. And
that the transgender community today
exactly,
does not.
exactly.
However, us growing up,
Hmm.
that term really didn't hurt anybody's feelings.
Hmm.
It just
Exactly.
didn't. I mean, hell, in the community, we would say, I mean, she's a tranny. And
Hmm.
it wasn't ever said in a derogatory way. You
Exactly.
know what I'm saying? And I think it's the context behind how you say it. Hell, you
Well,
remember some of the girls, honey, if they did certain things, my whole term was transimoto, and that could
mhm,
be just as offensive in today's
exactly.
world. So I try to watch when I say that. But however, it is a certain look. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a certain look, just like Quasimodo. It's
Hmm.
transimoto. It's a certain
Yeah.
level of botchery that's
She made
happened there.
she made a comment that a lot of the girls who I knew, who I know, had a problem with. And she was saying how you either want some dick or you want some pussy. There's no in between. And she said a lot of these men who go after these girls, after trans women, these are not quote unquote straight men. And she was saying these are men, basically paraphrasing what I took from what she was saying. She was saying that these are men who are in essence gay slash bisexual, who have issues with themselves. And then they deal with these girls because they feel like, okay, I'm not dealing with a man, you know. And
I
listening, it's very simplistic. It's a simplistic explanation, and it's a generalization. And you can't say that for every person, because there are some men who are straight who may find that appealing, who are not phased by the genitalia. So I thought the statement she made, she kind of made it seem like it was universal, but it was her opinion. But she kind of made it
it
like a
was.
universal statement. But you can't say that because, first of all, you're not one of these men who is
You don't
transgender
understand it.
attracted.
You
She's
you don't understand it. She
exactly.
she doesn't understand it, and that's what I meant. So I think that's the thing. That's the area that I would like to see her grow. Is
Mhm.
you have a right
To your
to
opinion.
have your opinion. We all do, whether
Mhm.
we agree or not. We all do, and I do think that she does a good job with hearing people and letting people have their opinion. But I do feel like that sometimes she still tries to force her view, and just because it's your view, that is your view. You've not walked in their shoes, and just
Exactly.
because you may have a preference that's either right or left, doesn't mean that's the same situation for them.
Exactly.
And I do, although I do agree that in certain instances, it's kind of tricky when they say that men that are only into trans women, they're really gay or bisexual. I don't feel that way because they are still in essence, they're still attracted to the essence of a woman, of the
Exactly.
femininity. They're not looking for those masculine traits.
Exactly.
They may not mind the genitalia. I mean, they just
Exactly.
may not mind it at all.
Hmm.
However, that
Exactly.
doesn't mean that the quarterback can approach that same guy and be visually stimulating for him. No, I mean,
Exactly.
to me, it's just the same as those who may be into people who are more of a thin physique or maybe a heavier physique, or
Hmm.
those who are into people of a certain color. Or I mean,
Exactly. It's a
all of those
preference.
things to me are it's the same. It's the
Exactly.
exact same. But when you try to force a general category on someone, I think it's
Hmm.
not black or white. It's very gray. It's
Exactly.
50 shades of gray,
Exactly.
actually. You know.
Everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
And I think when
Yeah.
you're of the older generation, you have a very singular mindset. And a lot of people are not, I can say Flame is more of
Yeah.
my generation. They don't tend to think outside the box. They tend to just kind of stick with, okay, this is how I was raised, this is how I came up, and that's it. And
But
yeah,
do you
she's
feel
open.
that?
She's open to listen to different opinions, but she's still kind of
So
set in
that's
her
another
ways
one.
in terms of how she thinks.
But do you feel that probably? Do you feel that? And I'm not about to wrap this up to you guys. But do you feel that? I think we need to continue this conversation. I feel
Mhm.
that that's another way of forcing your agenda and your opinion on other people. Just because our parents thought that way, it was a
Mhm.
struggle for us growing up. We had to find our own way. So now when
Mhm.
you get older, you have to keep that in mind of what it was like for you so that you can always be progressing forward.
Mhm. Mhm.
We all get into a point in our lives where we settle, we are who we are,
Mhm.
this is what I think, this is what it is. And that's fine if that's your view. But I think we start becoming more closed minded sometimes the older we
Mhm.
get. And some people become more open minded the older that they get. Typically, I typically think, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, for
Mhm.
those who are learning more about the experience through their kids and family loved ones, they tend to be more open minded as they get older. But for
Exactly.
us living the experience, we tend to get more closed minded as we get older.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly. And
it's
yeah,
weird how that works.
but you got to leave yourself open. And I'll say this: I'm tired of people, straight, gay, whatever, who always want to say, well, they have an agenda. They have an agenda. Yes, they have an agenda to be treated like everybody else and have the rights of everybody else and to be
That's
happy
it.
like everybody else and to walk down the street and not have to fear that someone's going to come and knock you upside your head or just shoot you in a passing car. People want to have the right to be like everybody else and have the same rights and liberties as everybody else. And it's just so exhausting to hear people say they have an agenda. Yeah, they want to be treated like everybody else, like people. Period. That's the
I
agenda.
mean, they
Come
used
on.
to say we. So for the civil rights movement, it was an agenda too, huh?
Exactly. To be treated like everybody else, to have the same rights as our counterparts do. And it's the same thing with the LGBTQ. I mean, you want to be treated like everybody else. Period. I don't care if I have heels, a mustache, a long beard to my knees, and a prom dress on. If I want to walk down the street as that, I should be able to do that without some moron taking it upon themselves to try to harm me because you are not secure with who you are.
Or you
So
don't
now
like
you're
what
going to
you
put your
see.
experience on
Well,
me.
bitch, go on. Go on and do
Exactly.
what you gotta do. You ain't gotta like it. I'm not doing this for you. But
Exactly.
anyway, we're going to end it. This has been an absolutely wonderful chat. I always love talking to you because we have real, genuine conversations. I
Yes, we do.
definitely want you to continue to hit me up and join me. I would
Of
love
course.
to have you as a regular, um, you know, uh, social club member, of course. You
Okay.
already know. I see you. Your connection is cute. It's together,
Mm-hmm.
honey. We gonna do this. I can't come down there and see you in Atlanta, but I can definitely see you like this, and I'm sure the people love you as well. But I'm gonna close it out,
Okay.
and don't go anywhere though. Okay.
All right.
All right. Um. So listen, y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Let me paint my little baseboards. Now the only thing I have to do is the floors will be in tomorrow. They're supposed to be delivered, so they'll be in tomorrow. I'm not gonna work on the floor tomorrow. At least I say that now. But I think me and Bay gonna just chill. We're gonna start on Sunday. I won't have a live tomorrow because I need to just rest up, girl. I've been giving you content all week, sharing this DIY with you guys. Thank you for coming through. Like, share, and subscribe. Okay. And I'll see you guys later. Okay. I'm doing this on my phone. So let me not act too old and get this done right. Bye, y'all.